This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
It's the Roger Stone Show on 77 WABC.
Welcome back, folks. This is the Roger Stone Show at 77 WABC. We're the crown jewel of AM radio. And now it is my great privilege to introduce one of my very best friends and a woman of extraordinary courage, energy. Well, she's actually indefatigable. That would be investigative independent journalist Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer's in the news these days because, well, it was Laura Loomer who discovered the glaring conflict of interest by Judge Juan Merchan in the Alvin Bragg prosecution of Donald Trump in the so-called hush money case. And now the findings of Laura Loomer have actually been embodied in a motion by President Donald Trump's lawyers to yet again ask Judge Merchan to recuse himself from this case because he has a glaring conflict of interest. Now, as we pointed out to you earlier in the show, the judge gave a $15 contribution to Joe Biden's presidential campaign. That is not only a violation of the canon of ethics, but it is an obvious demonstration of bias. By the way, it doesn't matter if it was $15, $50, $500, or $5,000. It's the fact that he broke the rules for judges by giving a contribution that betrayed his political bias. But Laura Loomer, who is a ubiquitous presence on X, has her very own show, Loomer Unleashed, on Rumble, which is a must-see, joins us now on the Roger Stone Show.
Thanks for having me, Roger. It's great to be here with you.
Saw a picture of you on Twitter this morning, Laura. Your hair looks really, really great.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
This is kind of an inside joke. Laura had some red streaks in her hair the other night, and I don't know, it's just my taste. I prefer her as a brunette, but she's always well dressed. She's always impeccably groomed, and she's one of my best friends, which seems to drive people on the left stark raving mad. It's kind of entertaining. So, Laura, what is it you learned about Judge Merchan's daughter, Laura Merchan, that constitutes this conflict of interest?
Well, look, she's not just any daughter, right? I mean, some people, when they first saw the story, they said, oh, President Trump is going after, the child of a judge. Well, when you understand the facts, you realize that Lauren Merchan is the president of a company called Authentic Campaigns, which is a very large, high-profile Democrat political consulting firm that does hundreds of millions of dollars of business with the most high-profile Democrats in our nation who all happen to hate Donald Trump. One of the top clients of this company, Authentic Campaigns, is Adam Schiff, who, of course, is one of the ringleaders, probably the most prominent ringleader in the Russia collusion hoax, and also one of the loudest voices who has been campaigning on getting Trump. Also, the Biden-Harris campaign is currently a client of Authentic Campaigns. And what I uncovered about Lauren Merchan that really sparked all of this these last few days over the last week is her ex-profile account was a photo of her. It was a photo of Donald Trump behind jail bars. And so imagine, right, the judge's daughter having an ex-profile account that has a photo of Donald Trump behind jail bars while the judge is supposed to be overseeing this trial, which is set to begin on April 15th, right? So it was major conflict of interest here. And now, you have the court correspondent for the court in New York saying, well, it was her account, but it's not her account anymore, kind of taking this whole Joy Reid defense, right, of, oh, I was hacked, or, oh, the account is somebody else's account. But we have the archive and we have photographs of her giving a presentation for her company, Authentic Campaigns, where she's standing in front of a projector, rather, with the same Twitter handle that says Lauren M426, which is the same Twitter handle that has the photo of Donald Trump photoshopped behind jail bars. So there's really no getting out of this one for Lauren Mershon.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The media, I think, tries to give the impression that she's a child. She's not a child. She's a Democratic political operative and fundraiser. And the key point here is that she has raised at least $93 million for her clients, specifically using this trial in her advertising. So the trial being run by her judge father is making her money. This, of course, would be grounds for appeal in the, I hate to say it, probable possibility or probable potential that Donald Trump is convicted in a kangaroo court proceeding. No one in their right mind believes that the president is going to get a fair trial. This is all about political interference. Laura, as you know, prosecutors in the Southern District of New York, federal prosecutors, these people are not friends of Donald Trump. This is the most politicized U.S. Attorney's Office in the United States. They examined all the facts in this case, and they elected to bring no prosecution. Mr. Bragg can't even define what the underlying crime here. What is the underlying crime? It was Michael Cohen, perhaps the dumbest human being on the face of the planet, who made these alleged hush money payments to the adult movie actress Stormy Daniels. Now, Mr. Cohen has denied doing that in writing and in under oath. Stormy Daniels has denied receiving them in writing and in under oath. But now, suddenly, they're changing their story. So this is all about getting Trump. It's about the effort to get Trump. A source tells me that a very prominent and respected attorney, Robert Costello, who at one time represented Michael Cohen, but no longer does, and for whom the privilege of confidentiality has been waived, could testify honestly that Michael Cohen, who is the chief witness for Mr. Bragg, told him both directly and in writing on numerous occasions that Donald Trump had done nothing wrong. Michael Avenatti, you remember him. He's the high-profile lawyer who represented Stormy Daniels. He was actually speculated about as a Democratic presidential candidate. Now he's sitting in a federal penitentiary because he was convicted of dipping into his client's funds, including by Stormy Daniels himself. Mr. Avenatti has come forward to say that while the person having an affair with Stormy Daniels and anxious to cover it up was not Donald Trump, but was Michael Cohen. I've had my own experience with Mr. Cohen. He testified under oath before the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, claiming that in 2016 that he overheard a phone conversation between candidate Donald Trump and me because Trump put the telephone call on a speakerphone. And Mr. Cohen alleges that I told candidate Trump that Julian Assange of WikiLeaks had obtained embarrassing bombshell information that was going to rock Hillary Clinton's campaign, and that he was going to release said information in October. First, Mr. Cohen said this phone conversation happened in July of 2016. Then I think after coaching by prosecutors to try to make them fit a contrived timeline, they said it happened in August of 2016. the Trump assistant who Mr. Cohn alleged came into the room and said, Mr. Trump, Roger Stone is on line 1 before he put me on the speakerphone. She has no memory of this whatsoever, and there, by the way, is no telephone record that bolsters this false claim. But I can tell you exactly when that phone call took place. That would be never. Mr. Cohn is a convicted liar. He has a motive. He had this demented idea that had Trump been elected, he would have been named as White House Chief of Staff or White House General Counsel, 2 jobs that he is incredibly unsuited for. And his credibility is so bad. Well, the federal investigators didn't want to put him as a witness in a prosecution on the hush money case. They never called him as a witness in my trial. Think that's because they know he would have been eviscerated. Small footnote, folks, he's also he's now 2 years running on my international worst dressed list that I publish every New Year's Day. I really had no idea that Rolston Purina was still making sports jackets. Laura, what happens next here? It really is, my hat is off to you because it really is your reporting, your fearless reporting that took Golden Boy Ron DeSantis, who, people forget this, once led Donald Trump in the polls after his tumultuous 2022 victory, but who now had to withdraw the race because, well, he got no votes. It's the way it usually works. I think you deserve more credit than anyone else, although I kind of think I'm up there with you, in the takedown and exposure of Ron DeSantis as the treacherous, backstabbing, ungrateful weasel that he is.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I do my best to fight for President Trump on a daily basis, whether that's exposing Ron DeSanctimonious or Judge Merchan or Judge Engoron. So I'm happy to help because we need to get President Trump back into the White House, and our country is, on the brink of total collapse. And one of the biggest factors driving that collapse is the absolute rot and corruption within our Department of Injustice, as I like to call it. So I'm always happy to help. It's an honor. It's a pleasure to be an independent journalist fighting for our country, and also fighting against the witch hunts against President Trump, because the attacks on President Trump are attacks on us and they're attacks on our country. And I really do believe that we're going to fail if Donald Trump doesn't get back into the White House.
I obviously could not agree with you more. So, Laura, I don't know. I actually don't know when you sleep. I'm trying to figure out when you sleep. You have a news aggregation site, which is very good. You have your regular account on X, formerly known as Twitter, always lively and combative. That's the part I like. Laura Loomer takes no crap from anybody. And when the left comes back at her, well, you don't want to get in between that. She will always defend herself. You're doing this great show at Rumble, Loomer Unleashed. You've had some amazing guests. Do you ever sleep?
No, I do not. Come on, Roger. You know that I don't sleep. That's why we're always texting each other at 3 o'clock in the morning. You don't sleep either.
One of the great, shall we say, pranks of all time. This was at a time that neither Laura Loomer and I had been restored to X, formerly known as Twitter. I think we're on Parler at the time, a social media site that has gone, the way of history. And it was late night, and I was kind of in a good mood, and I posted that I admire Laura Loomer so much, and since I have no heirs, I think I am going to freeze some of my seed so that someday down the road, if Laura Loomer chooses to have a child, that I could be the surrogate, the in vitro father. And then Laura and I decided that we would name the child Donald after Trump, Ronald after Reagan, Stone after me, Loomer. Folks, it was a joke, but
it was very funny joke, though.
the people went out of their minds. They went out of their minds. Actually, I think we should recycle it just to trigger them yet again. It's one of the favorite things that I have done with Laura. Laura ran twice for Congress. She doesn't get enough credit for that, folks. She ran in one of the most difficult uphill districts in all of Florida. Happens to be the district that President Donald Trump lives in. He proudly voted for her. She hit a high water mark. No Republican has ever reached the level she did in the election. Laura, what was your final percentage in your first election?
Well, in my first election, I got over 40% of the vote.
Which, folks, this is an 80 to 20 Democratic district, one of the bluest districts in the country.
I actually got more votes than Donald Trump did in his own home district. I got over 5% more votes than Donald Trump did in the home district when you look at the breakdown of votes, which means that there were crossover votes. People who voted for Joe Biden also voted for me because I was that compelling of a candidate. I also won a 7-way primary while being the first deplatformed candidate in U.S. history. So I was able to get over 40% of the vote while being deplatformed. And I think that that is probably the most extraordinary part of my campaign, because it was at a time when people said that censorship was a right-wing conspiracy theory, and I was the first and only candidate in U.S. history to run for office with zero social media because they wouldn't allow me to have it.
It was an extraordinary campaign. The incumbent is a woman named Lois Frankel, who she's very much like Joe Biden. I'm not sure she knows what day of the week it is. She's an anachronism, but Nancy Pelosi made unlimited campaign funds available for her. And of course, can't blame her. Lois Frankel wouldn't debate Laura Loomer. She refused to debate Laura Loomer, which I think is an insult to the voters. Then Laura subsequently ran, after moving to another district in Florida. She ran against an incumbent, Dan Webster, who was kind of a rhino Republican, had served as, I think, both president of the Senate in Florida as well as Speaker of the House. I think that election, I hate to say it, that election was stolen from you. I have seen actual hard evidence provided by the election integrity expert and tech wonk Chris Gleason, one of the smartest guys I know, also one of the guys who told me in no uncertain terms when I was fearing for my life that I better start reading the Bible and turn my life over to Christ. A good friend, but also a genius. I mean, truly a genius in terms of his analysis of public data. He essentially proved that in Lake County, one of the largest counties in Laura's district, that the Board of Elections mailed out 5,000 mail-in ballots. By law, the exterior envelope must say return address requested. In other words, if it's undeliverable, it has to go back to the Board of Elections. But Laura, somebody inside the Board of Elections cast those votes, and I don't think they casted them for you. So I believe Laura Loomer won her house in her seat in Congress, but, and this is important, I actually think she's doing a greater service to this country right now, not being in Congress, than she would have done as a junior member of the House. If you want to make God laugh, tell God about your plans. Laura Loomer is a force of nature, and she has played a bigger and more impactful role in this presidential campaign than she ever could have played as a member of the House of Representatives. Folks, if you're just tuning in, this is the Roger Stone Show. I'm here with investigative journalist and bulldog Laura Loomer, and we will be right back.
Unplug your cleaning routine with the Ryobi 18-volt ONE+ cordless cleaning lineup. From the soap-dispensing telescoping power scrubber to the advanced stick vacuum, Ryobi has a solution for every cleaning task. One battery powers over 300 products, giving you the power to do more, exclusively at the Home Depot.
It's the Roger Stone Show on 77 WABC.
Welcome back, folks. This is the Roger Stone Show on 77 WABC Radio, and we're here with investigative journalist, independent investigative journalist, Laura Loomer, also known, by the way, as the most censored and banned person in the world. Laura, how many platforms have you been banned on?
I'm pretty much banned on all of them, except now I've got my Twitter account back after being reinstated, after Elon Musk purchased the platform. But no, I've been banned on pretty much every single social media site. I mean, I can't even give you an exact number because there's just so many of them. No Facebook, no Instagram, no PayPal, none of that.
As I understand it, you can't even order an Uber, right? You're banned on Uber. That's not even a social media platform.
Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, yeah, all of that.
Wow, you must really be dangerous.
Well, that's what they say, right?
Look, I'm right up with you. I talked about it in the opening segment. I mean, I have some guy on Facebook posing as me who's out selling crypto. I don't.
Well, you were attacked the other day. You had somebody. You're not dangerous, but the people that they're inciting against you are. You said you got attacked the other day when you went out to eat.
Yeah, thanks to my smart thinking or my fast thinking friend Michael Caputo, nobody got hurt, but. Yeah, the people on the left are lunatics. I don't want to talk about this too much because it engenders copycats. But, you know, if I went to dinner with Laura Loomer, let's say, we were in a nice restaurant and we saw, I don't know, Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff sitting on the corner having lunch. I would not go over and bother their lunch. I'd ignore them. That would be my approach. It's not a public event. Now, when Laura Loomer goes and Loomers somebody at a public event, and this was great the other night at Mar-a-Lago. Laura and I were both there for, I think that was the best political party of the year. It was a fundraiser for the Great Kari Lake. President Trump was there. Our mutual friend, Roseanne Barr, who we love very much, was there. Chad Prather, the kind of country and Western comedian, was there. Jim Brewer is a very, very funny comedian, was there. I had to apologize all to those professional comedians because I was so much better, funnier than they were. But it was a great night, and the best part of it was when President Trump saw Laura in the crowd, and he called her out for her toughness, for her resolve, and said, "Let me tell you, folks, one thing you don't want to get Loomered. You don't want that. You don't want to get Loomered." It was a great tribute to you, Laura. So I understand you're going to go to New York to cover the upcoming trial.
Yeah, I'm planning on going to New York to cover the trial, which is set to begin on April 15th in New York City. So I will be there. And so I hope to meet people. If you live in New York, be sure you get out, or just in the tri-state area, be sure that you show up with your Trump flags and your signs in support of President Trump to protest peacefully against this weaponized government and two-tier justice system banana republic. Starts on April 15th, New York City.
It is, I think, the weakest case of all the cases against Trump. You notice that in Florida, Jack Smith, the special counsel, is now threatening a federal judge. This is talking to lawyers I respect, lawyers like David Schoen, the famous criminal defense lawyer. This is unheard of. Prosecutors do not threaten federal judges. But evidently Mr. Smith is unhappy with some, not even decisions, but some preliminary inquiries that Judge Eileen Cannon made. And just the fact that he mentions the Presidential Records Act, which, based on a decision by Judge Amy Berman Jackson, who was actually the judge in my case that said Bill Clinton had every right to keep 78 audio recordings of official meetings in the Oval Office in his sock drawer at home. That's okay if you're Bill Clinton, but you can't keep classified or top secret documents if you're Donald Trump. It is a stunning turn of events. And Mr. Smith is charging President Trump under the Espionage Act, which no president or vice president has ever been charged under. His threats to the judge and the backdrop of all the fake news people at MSNBC, particularly that mental midget Joy Reid, threatening a federal judge. You notice how they never threaten any of the judges in D.C. Here's what I love. Judge Cannon in the Florida documents case, she must step down because she was appointed by Donald Trump. Well, guess what? Every single judge who sat in judgment on those who were charged in the Mueller collusion hoax, General Flynn, Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, that conspiracy was hatched in Barack Obama's office. And the president who appointed the judge in all of those cases was Barack Obama himself. But for some reason, Andrew Weissman didn't have a lavender conniption fit about this. That didn't bother him at all. The double standard that they hold Donald Trump to is really quite extraordinary and offensive. So, Laura, tell people where they can see the great Laura Loomer. Where can they see you? Where can they hear you?
Thank you. Yeah, so people can follow me on X and Truth Social at Laura Loomer. And then my website is loomered.com. And they can also watch my show every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern live on Rumble at rumble.com/Laura Loomer.
There you have it, folks. You do not want to miss Laura Loomer's late night Rumble show. She has great guests. She's going to continue to play, I think, one of the most important roles in this presidential campaign. Like Donald Trump himself, she is a force of nature. People know that she and I are close friends, and they often say to me, could you call Laura and tell her not to do this or not to do that or to do this differently? Well, first of all my conversations with Laura Loomer are confidential, but Laura is her own person. I admire that, actually. She's a woman of uncommon courage, independence, and her devotion and loyalty to President Donald Trump is something to be honored, revered, and respected. Laura Loomer, thank you so much for joining us for this special interview on The Roger Stone Show.
Thanks for having me, Roger.